Juice Wrld unfortunately had passed away as of Sunday, December 8th, 2019, right before the beginning of the year 2020, and unfortunately this had transpired. He was an incredible artist. He was someone who I personally looked up to. I always found him to be this phenomenal, interesting individual for a character of a human being. He had a collective conscious soul that was full of light, and he was a spirit that was radiating. I fell in love with his music a few years ago. My first song I listened to his was Black and White, which I'm sure was a lot of people's first music, a song that they had listened to. When I heard of the news this morning, I was in absolute shock. I was absolutely speechless. I was devastated. I thought it was a prank at first. I thought it was something not real. And then here to come to find out, it was very much real. And I had a lot of respect for Juice Wrld concerning his lyrics, had a lot of in-depth interpretation and meaning of reality and freedom of expression through the art of music and your soul consciousness of your emotions, of how one would portray or how you're supposed to portray your emotions. You're supposed to be free and find your individuality through the means of art, music, everyday daily life and everyday existence. And I swear to God, I woke up to this news and my heart just like sank to the bottom of the floor, you know. He was someone who I always thought was a phenomenal artist, and he died much too soon. He was someone who I had a lot of respect for, considering that how much of an individual that he was. And you know, I've always perceived him to be this individual that was more leaning towards the alternative, kind of emo, gothic, you know, ish. However you want to interpret it, that's how I interpret it. Much like myself, I am part of the alternative collective and part of my own consciousness. So I've always found myself to be an individual. I never believed in labels in particular. However, it's such an unfortunate thing of how the status quo of society, modern society, where you have to fight to struggle to stay alive, and not just stay alive, but to fight against your own or confine in your own demons. And there's a necessary balance and order for everything, the darkness and light, and you find yourself to struggle to try to get to rise to the top. And once you get to that top, you know, you make millions of dollars, you have all this popularity, fame, glory, all the materialism in the world and what have you, and it comes down crashing, and it becomes nothingness. You know, you die and you leave it all behind in this materialistic world, and then we have nothing. You know, we return to the same particular familiar dirt that we once had risen out from the void of complete blackness, you know. So, and you know, we fight each other, we're competing with one another, we're trying to get to this top, you know. And it's all for nothing in the end. Best example, Robin Williams, you know. And I'm only alive in this world to try to make sense as much as possible of the world that we live in, as jaded and corrupt it is. There are some good people in the world. I'm for one, I don't want to make this video about myself, but I relate a lot to Juice Wrld's messages and his lyrics and his music, and I for one, appreciate the aesthetic of art and music. I find myself concentrating and connecting to music that are meaningful, and I honestly don't care about many celebrities. I don't care about all the materialism of the world, because I don't live above and beyond my means. I'm very simplistic. And while I am alive in this human vessel for an existence, I do tend to try to make the best of everything. You know, I try to connect the dots here or there, and I try to be the best aspiring person that I myself could ever project or aspire myself to become every day. Every day is a constant journey, but, you know, it's just unfortunate and sad that you have so much of a bitterness in the world. For one, I don't trust many people. Very much, you know, like my shirt says, like very much nihilistic and misanthropic. I think a lot of human beings, like people in general society, suck. Okay, that's not to be negative. I'm just a realist. I'm brutally honest, and that's just who I am. You know, that's just my freedom of expression, of my speech, and my individualism, what I believe in, the conveying of my messages and my perspective and philosophies or otherwise. But, you know, we try so hard. We try to get to this top, man, and once we have it all, then we, like I said, we return to nothingness. And so busy chasing after that money, after that social status, after this fame, after this whatever. But I relate a lot to his music. You know, he talked a lot about like suicidal thoughts, depression, being an individual, being a social outcast, and despite feeling that way, and he was still looked up and admired by so many people, and he impacted so many people's lives through his messages that people could relate to. And I found that to be very inspirational to me. And, you know, I believe that each person should be the voice of their own consciousness and their own influence. However, sometimes you have to take an outsider perspective to looking in to be knowledgeable, to gain insight, knowledge, and deeper perspective. So I cannot seem to wrap my mind around this phenomenal human being and an artist that just passed away like this. Hell of a way to end 2019. He had a great future of success ahead of him. And that's not to say that he was already successful when he was alive, but, you know, he could have achieved so much more if indeed he was still alive. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please subscribe, share, like, favorite, all that stuff. Rest in peace, Wrld. Farewell.